Hey Meduc YouTube, welcome back to a new video with Rams fan YT. I am doing this video slightly early today because today is my last official day at school, kind of. So there's going to be a prom this evening, and I got voted by the teachers as the best blogger in my year group. So thank you to all them people who are supporting me. And you clearly have a very trustworthy channel. But today we're looking at part 2, so 1 to 50, although we did 50 last week. So we won't re-look at Tamworth, so it's basically 49 to 1 of my top 100 non-league clubs. So we're going to go from 49th now, which I've got as Braintree Town, obviously based in Braintree, which is in Essex, and are currently members of the National League South, which is the 6th tier of English football, and play at the Cressing Road Stadium. Really, they've been all over the place. They're a pretty high level of the non-league football scenes, really. Top 3 tiers at least for most of their existence. 48th, I've gone with Bromley Football Club. Bromley are based in London and are currently members of the National League, the 5th tier of English football, and they play at Hayes Lane. They finished 10th last season. They sort of worked their way up to get where they are, but certainly over recent years been very good. They reached finally the FA Trophy not that long ago. I think it was 2017-18. Actually won the FA Trophy last season in 2021-22. So obviously quite a big club in terms of that. 47, I've got Burton Albion down. Obviously now Football League, which doesn't matter, but they are based in Burton-upon-Trent in Staffordshire. Their club moved in its home ground in 2005 to the Pirelli Stadium from the old Eaton Park. The club's nickname, the Brewers, actually evokes the brewing heritage of the town of Burton-upon-Trent. Burton Albion were formed in 1950 and initially joined the Birmingham District League before switching to the Southern League 8 years later. They were promoted from the Southern League Division 1 in 1965-66, 1971-72, and 1973-74, and were relegated from the Southern League Premier Division in 1970, 1973, and 1977. Burton spent 1979-1987 in the Northern Premier League before reverting to the Southern League Premier Division. They rejoined the Northern Premier League in 2001 and were promoted to the conference as Northern Premier League champions in 2001-2. Nigel Clough spent 7 seasons as the club's player manager in the conference and then led them into the Football League as champions of the conference in 2008-9. So obviously they've gone on to much better things, being the championship at one point, but very steeped in history in the non-league game. 46th, we have got another Football League team at the moment of Crawley Town, based in Crawley, West Sussex. They were founded as Crawley Football Club in 1896, changing their name to Crawley Town in 1958. The club has played its home games at the Broadfield Stadium since 1997 and are nicknamed the Reds or the Red Devils due to the colour of their kit. When they were founded in 1896, Crawley helped to found the West Sussex League later that year before they transferred to the Mid-Sussex League. The club disbanded in 1935 but were re-established in the Brighton Hove District League 3 years later. The club switched to the Sussex County League in 1951 and then moved on to the Metropolitan League 5 years later. The club moved from amateur to semi-professional status in 1962 and were accepted into the Southern League the following year. They secured promotion out of Division 1 in 1968-69, only to suffer relegation the next season. Crawley were promoted out of the Southern League Southern section in 1983-84 and spent the next 21 seasons in the Premier Division before winning promotion into the conference as champions of the Southern League in 2003-04. The club turned fully professional in 2005 but faced immediate financial difficulties and administration the following year. The club survived and appointed Steve Evans as manager in May 2007, and Evans led them into the Football League as champions of the conference in 2010-11. On to 45th, with the team this season who got promoted via the playoffs of Grimsby Town Football Club, based in northeast Lincolnshire, a lovely seaside town. They, of course, won the 2022 National League playoff final and were nicknamed the Mariners for Mariners. And the club was founded as Grimsby Pelham Football Club in 1878, but changed its name to Grimsby Town a year later and moved to its current stadium, Blundell Park, in 1898. Been very successful throughout their history, really. They had trips to Wembley in 2013 and 2016, which saw them defeated in the FA Trophy final by Wrexham and FC Halifax Town, respectively. They also lost at the venue in the 2015 National League playoff final to Bristol Rovers, before finally getting promotion by winning the 2016 final against Forest Green Rovers. In 2022, Grimsby were promoted back to the Football League for the second time with the victory over Solihull Moors at London Stadium. Their relegation in 2010 made them the sixth club to compete in all of the top 5 divisions of English football. So very much a team which is very historically Football League, but recently have been very successful in the non-league scene of the game. 44th, we have Wycombe Wanderers. Obviously, Championship not that long ago, but we are focusing on their non-league times. Well, they're based in the town of High Wycombe in Buckinghamshire and play their matches at Adams Park in the western outskirts of High Wycombe. They were founded in 1887 and entered the Southern League in 1896. They switched to the Great Western Suburban League in 1908 and then the Spartan League in 1919, before joining the Isthmian League after winning the Spartan League in 1919-20 season and 1920-21. They spent 64 years in the Isthmian League, winning 8 league titles and 1 FA Amateur Cup title. Having rejected numerous invitations to join the Alliance Premier League, which is now the National League, they finally accepted the offer in 1985 and eventually found success in the 5th tier of English football under the management of Martin O'Neill, winning promotion to the Football League as Football Conference champions in 1992-93. They also listed the FA Trophy in 1991 and 1993 and won the Conference League Cup, Conference Shield 3 times and the Conference Charity Shield. So yeah, obviously a lot of silverware in the non-league scene. 43rd, we're going to go and have Lincoln City. Quite a massive rise they've had over recent years, haven't they? The nickname the Imps after the legend of a Lincoln Imp. They have played at the 10,120 capacity Sincil Bank since their move from John O'Gaunt's in 1895. They traditionally play in red and white striped shirts with black shorts and red and white socks, and hold rivals with other Lincolnshire clubs, particularly Scunthorpe United and Grimsby Town. Founded in 1884, Lincoln won the Midland League in 1889-90, their first full season playing league football, and they moved from the Football Alliance to become founding members of the second division. They failed re-election in 1908, and they won an immediate re-election after winning the next year's Midland League, and would repeat this feat after failing re-election again in 1911 and 1920. But yeah, that's pretty much their time beforehand. But they did find themselves in the conference again in 1987. But Lincoln made an immediate recovery, gaining their Football League status with a conference title in 1987-88. But yeah, they exited the division that was above the non-league team and returned to the conference after relegation at the end of the 2010-11 campaign. And they spent 6 seasons in non-league. And that was ended when the Cowley brothers, Nicky and Danny, led the club to the National League title in 2016-17, as well as run to the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. And this made them the first non-league side to reach that stage of that competition in 103 years. So I really think they deserve a bit of credit. 42nd, we've got Wealdstone, or Wealdstone, depends how you want to pronounce it. They are based in Ruislip, the London Borough of Hillingdon, and associated with the Middlesex County Football Association. They currently play in the National League, which is the fifth tier of English football, having been promoted as champions of the National League South for the 2019-20 season. While established in 1899, it has roots dating back to 1887 and was actually created for a series of local mergers in Wealdstone, which was then in Middlesex. For most of its existence, the club was based at the Lower Mead Stadium in Harrow until 1991, and after a long period of homelessness, a ground sharing with various local clubs since 2008, they have been based at the Grosvenor Vale. Their traditional colours are royal blue and white, and are nicknamed the Stones or the Royals. The club were the first to achieve the famed non-league double, winning both the FA Trophy and the Alliance Premier League, which is now the National League, in the same season of the 1984-85 campaign. The latter happened 2 years before automatic promotion zone to the Football League began, and Wealdstone has never been a member of a Football League so far. But the club has also got the distinction of appearing in the first ever football match to be televised in the UK, when the BBC show part of their league match against rivals Barnet in October 1946. 41st, we have got Eastleigh Football Club. They are based in Hampshire, just north of Southampton, and currently compete in the National League, the fifth tier of English football, and play their home matches at the Silver Lake Stadium. They finished 19th in the National League last season, so they didn't do too great, but they have been rising up from the Wessex League up through the leagues, and they've been in the Conference Premier or the National League since 2014, so quite a long time now. 40th, we've got the Phoenix Club of Halifax Town, FC Halifax Town. Amazing song and amazing academy. They're actually a professional association football club, which are based in Halifax, which is in West Yorkshire, and they currently compete in the National League, the fifth tier of English football. They play at the Shea, and they replaced Halifax Town, which went into administration in 2007-8 season. They pretty much rose through a lot of leagues because they were placed originally in the Northern Premier League Division 1 North, which was the 8th tier of English football, and basically worked their way up through the league since 2008 until they got to the National League in 2013, and have really remained there since, although they have always been competitive during that time. Enfield Football Club is 39th for me. I mean, most of you will think like Enfield Football Club, and I've had a bit of a rocky road recently, finding themselves in the 9th tier, currently members of the Essex Senior League. And the club plays its matches at Woodside Park, which is actually in Bishop Stortford in Hertfordshire, which is owned by the Bishop Stortford Football Club. They're traditionally based in Enfield in Greater London, and the club was between the 1960s and 1980s one of the most successful non-league clubs in England. They won the FA Amateur Cup, the FA Trophy, and the Football Conference twice. The club, however, did not manage to gain an election to the Football League. And following financial struggles and the sale of their Southbury Road Stadium, the club declined, eventually folding and reforming in 2007 as Enfield 1893. They later dropped the 1893 Sussex though in 2019. So historically, absolutely massive club. 38th, we've got Torquay United. Based in Devon, lovely seaside town there, and they currently compete in the National League, the fifth tier of English Football League system. They played their home matches at Plainmoor since 1921 and are nicknamed the Gulls. They were founded in 1899, and the club first entered the East Devon League. They went on to win the Torquay and District League in 1908-09 and the Plymouth and West Devon League in 1911-12. And were admitted into the Football League after claiming the Southern League title in 1927 and second place in the Western League in 1926-27 as well. They spent quite a long time in the Football League, but they finished bottom of the league in 2007, which meant that they got relegated to the non-league again. In 2008, they won the FA Trophy final, which they lost. But they went on to win the 2009 Conference Playoff Final. They then spent a bit of time in the Football League, but they lost their Football League status for the second time, with the last place finished in 2014. And Torquay were actually relegated from the National League in 2018, but did secure an immediate promotion after winning the National League South in 2018-19. A very competitive team still to this day, I think, you could argue. 37th, we got York City, the Minster Men. Yes, based in the city of York, lovely place that is. I'm absolutely in love with that city. And they, as of the 2022-23 season, the team competed in the National League, the fifth tier of the English Football League system, because obviously we got promoted last season via the playoffs. They were founded in 1922, and the club played 7 seasons in non-league football before they joined the Football League. Yeah, they spent a long time there, pretty much. But they were relegated from the 3rd division at the end of the 2003-04 season. And the 2011-12 FA Trophy was the first national knockout competition won by York, and they returned to the Football League that season, before they got relegated back to the non-league football in 2016. They obviously named Minstermen after York Minster, and the team traditionally play in red kits. They played at Fulford Gate from 1922 to 1932, and then they moved to Bootham Crescent, which was their home for 88 years. This ground has been subject to numerous improvements over the years, but the club actually lost ownership of it when it was transferred to a holding company in 1999. York bought it about 5 years later, but the terms of the loan used to do so necessitated a move to a new ground. And they moved to their current ground, the York Community Stadium, in 2021. York have received numerous clubs, but their traditional rivals are Hull City and Scarborough. The club's record appearance holder is Barry Jackson, who made 539 appearances, while their leading scorer is Norman Wilkinson with 143 goals. 36, we got Farnborough Town. Very interesting, this one, I would say. Well, the old Farnborough Town is the much bigger one. The current Farnborough was reformed in 2007, but Farnborough Town was founded in 1967 as Farnborough Town. And they are actually now members again, though, of the National League South, the Phoenix Club, and play at Cherrywood Road. They actually won the playoffs of the Southern League Premier Division South, but they weren't really. They were in the Football Conference in 1988-89. They won promotion, but they didn't do that well. They had a bit of a peak in the 1990s, actually drawing against West Ham in the FA Cup, I think in the 3rd round or something like that. And have really been floating between the National League and the Southern Football League, or Southern Premier League as it is. That was before they formed the current year Tier 6, which they are now in. Maidstone United, the 1897 version, is going to be 35th. So this is the older one. It was a club for Maidstone based in Kent, and they existed from 1897 to 1992. They spent a lot of time in the Football League, but they also played in various amateur leagues and in the Southern Football League, which was the major semi-professional league in Southern England, really, until the formation of the Alliance Premier League, now the National League, in 1979. On which they did spend a bit of time in, winning the conference, in fact, in 1989, but that was before automatic promotion relegation had been introduced. Oh no, they had been introduced, so they did get promoted automatically. So they very historically, but then they sort of demised. 34th, we got Cambridge United. Based in the city of Cambridge, famous for university. They play at Abbey Stadium on Newmarket Road, which is actually about 2 miles east of the Cambridge City Centre, or for any of the European friends, 3 kilometres away. The stadium has a capacity of 8,127, made up of terracing and seated areas. And the club was actually founded in 1912 as Abbey United, and took the name Cambridge United in 1951. They played in local amateur leagues before joining the Southern League after finishing as runners-up of the Eastern Counties League in 1957-58. Under Bill Lever's stewardship, they were crowned Southern League Premier Division champions in 1968-69 and 1969-70. And so they were elected into the Football League in 1970. They entered the conference again in 2000, or non-league scene with the conference in 2005, after they had 2 relegations in 4 seasons. And they remained in the conference for 9 seasons and finished as conference runners-up 3 times. They were beaten in the playoff finals in 2008 and 2009 before they eventually secured promotion after winning the 2014 playoff final. But yeah, the club has traditionally worn amber and black at home and has experimented with a number of designs of search, including plain amber with a black trim like now, amber and black squares, stripes, and amber with a black sash. They actually have quite close links with the Cambridge Regional College and a team that operated as a de facto reserve team between 2006 and 2014. And the Cambridge United Community Trust perform a lot of charity work in the local community. So it's good to see them do that as well. 33rd, we've got Cheltenham Town. If I can spell Cheltenham Town into the information thing we've got. So they're now in the Football League, of course, but they nicknamed Robins and played at Whaddon Road since 1932. And the club contest rivalries with Gloucester City and Forest Green Rovers. They were founded in 1887 and spent much of its early history competing in local football circles before they moved to the Birmingham Combination in 1932 and then the Southern League in 1935. They spent the next 50 years in the Southern League, winning the Midland Division in 1980-83 and then claiming the Premier Division title in 1984-85. They were subsequently promoted to the Alliance Premier League in 1985, where they remained for 7 seasons until they were relegated in 1992. They finished up as runners-up in the Southern League Premier Division for 4 of their next 5 seasons and were promoted into the conference in 1997. Under the stewardship of Steve Cotterill, Cheltenham won the 1998 FA Trophy final and then secured promotion to the Football League for the first time after winning the conference title in 1998-99. The club's 16-year stay there in the Football League ended with relegation back to the National League in 2015. But, however, the manager Gary Johnson led Cheltenham to the conference title with a 101 points tally in 2015-16, making them the first club in 26 years to secure an immediate return to the Football League as champions of a conference. Very rare occasion, that is, really. So be careful if you do get relegated in the Football League, because I know Grimsby managed a bit this time, but it is a slippery division to get out of. 32nd, Halifax Town themselves, the original club, which was based in West Yorkshire. They spent a bit of time in the Football League. They had a short period from 1993 to 1998 in the Conference National, and they then spent from 2002 till they got dissolved in 2008 in the National League. Their club stadium was Vichy. As I said, the club was dissolved in 2008, and so Phoenix Club under the name of FC Halifax Town. And I imagine eventually they'll overtake them on this list, and hopefully they do, of the best non-league teams of all time. 31st, we got Football League new boys, really. Only a couple of, this will be their 2nd season. Sutton United. They're based in Sutton, which is in South London. They play their home games at the Gander Green Lane in Sutton, which is about 10 miles southwest of central London. And Sutton started out playing in junior and local leagues, but progressed into the Athenian League in 1921, the Isthmian League in 1964, and the Conference in 1986. The team fell back into the Isthmian League in 1991, and Sutton won the Athenian League 3 times in 1927-28, 1945-46, and 1957-58, and the Isthmian League 5 times in 1966-67, 1984-85, 1985-86, 1998-99, and 2010-11. They appeared in conference for 1 more season in 1999-2000 and were founding members of Conference South, now known as the National League South, in 2004. Sutton won the National League South in 2015-16 and achieved their very first promotion to the Football League after winning the National League title in the 2020-21 season. The team has had several cup successes but did not win a final, including playing at Wembley in the FA Amateur Cup final twice, and in the FA Trophy final in 1981. Sutton actually won the Anglo-Italian Cup in 1979, but the club is most famous for its FA Cup giant-killing exploits, most notably in the 1988-89 season when they defeated Coventry City 2-1 in the third round. The Coventry team was composed mostly of star international players and had actually won the competition in 1987. And in the 2016-17 season, Sutton reached the fifth round of the FA Cup for the first time in their history, beating three Football League teams of Cheltenham Town, AFC Wimbledon and Leeds United, before losing 2-0 at home to Arsenal. 30th, the original Rushden and Diamonds. There is now AFC Rushden and Diamonds because they are unfortunately dissolved. They were based in a place called Irthlingborough in Northamptonshire. And they were nicknamed as the Diamonds and played at Nene Park, or Neen Park, depends what you want to call it. I think it's actually Neen Park, isn't it? The club's main rivals were county neighbours Kettering Town, and the club was formed by a merger of Rushden Town and Irthlingborough Diamonds in 1992. And they entered the Southern League and won the Midland Division in the 1993-94 season and the Premier Division in the 1995-96 season. They then spent 5 seasons in the Conference National before they won a place in the Football League after winning the 2000-2001 title. The club was relegated from the Football League after finishing bottom of League 2 in 2006, and the club was actually expelled from the conference on the 11th of June 2011. Their unstable financial position meant they could not guarantee to complete all their fixtures in the 2011-12 season, and resulted in their dissolution. And they were succeeded by a Phoenix club called AFC Rushden and Diamonds, which is nowhere near as successful, unfortunately. But 29, we've got 29th for Nuneaton Borough. Very big club historically, of course, based in Warwickshire. And the first team actually competes in the Southern League Premier Division Central, which is at the 7th tier of English football now. But in 1889, Nuneaton St Nicholas was the first team in Nuneaton to play senior football. And in 1894, the Knicks changed their name to Nuneaton Town Association Football Club, which you may know as a bit more, which then played under that name until 1937, when the club disbanded. 2 days later, the club was reformed as Nuneaton Borough and played under this name until 1991, when the club liquidated for the first time. So it's debatable about whether it's the same club or not. I think it personally is, because they've got the same name. And after the club reform, they changed their name to Nuneaton Borough in 1991. During this time, the club had some historic cup victories, including a 1-0 win over the Division 2 side Stoke City in 2000. And in 2006, they scored a late equaliser at home to Premier League and UEFA Cup side Middlesbrough. And in 2008, though, the club was liquidated due to poor financial performance, and it was renamed Nuneaton Town and suffered a 2-division demotion. During the 2018-19 season, the club reverted to its former name of Nuneaton Borough after overwhelming support for the change from supporters. The club currently plays its home fixtures at Liberty Way in Nuneaton, and the club's home colours are blue and white, which are usually represented as vertical stripes, and the club is known to some supporters as the Borough. Local rivals include Tamworth, Leamington and Bedworth United. 28th, we've got Hereford United, of course, the original club before they were folded in 2014. Placed right near the Welsh borders, really, in Herefordshire, and they played at Edgar Street for their entire history. They were nicknamed the Whites or the Lily Whites after their predominantly white kit, or the Bulls after the Hereford cattle breed. They contested the A49 derby games with Shrewsbury Town, and they were founded in 1925, with the club entering the Birmingham Combination and then switching to the Birmingham District League 4 years later. They entered the Southern League after World War II, winning the North West Division in 1958-59 and Division 1 in 1964-65. Hereford achieved national prominence in 1972 when they knocked top-flight Newcastle United out of the FA Cup, and that led to them being promoted into the Football League. They lost their Football League status with a last place finish in 1997, but they remained in the conference for 9 seasons under the stewardship of Graham Turner, before they won promotion back again, winning in the 2006 playoff final. But they were relegated at the end of the 2007-8 season and were they were relegated into non-league, in 2012. And the club on the 19th of December 2014 was wound up by the High Court with debts of around £1.3 million. And so following the demise of United, a new Phoenix club was set up called Hereford with the motto Forever United. And, that's into the club crest, if you've actually seen it, as well as the iconic Hereford Bull. And they gained promotion to the National League North in 2018. 27th, we've got Stafford Rangers. A lot of Staffordshire clubs are very good in the non-league, just not so much in the Football League, are they? And they're based from Stafford, and they play in the Northern Premier League Premier Division. Eighth last season, and the team wear black and white stripes with black shorts. And Stafford Rangers' rivals include Tamworth, Hednesford Town, Burton Albion, and Telford United. For absolutely ages, though, they were in the conference. They were founding members of the Alliance Premier League, actually, but they weren't very good at the start. But really, they've been at that level for quite a while. So I think they do deserve to be on this list. 26th, we got Weymouth Football Club. Lovely place. Sailing was the Olympic Games in 2012 there, I seem to remember. And they're based in Dorset, and they're nicknamed the Terrors due to their terracotta strip. They currently compete in the National League South and play their home matches at the Bob Lucas Stadium. And the club is affiliated to the Dorset County Football Association, and of course is an FA Chartered Standard club. They actually got relegated last season from the National League, finishing 22nd out of 23 clubs. So we'll play in the National League South next season. But they've been quite good in the FA Cup as well. That was one of the things. They did have a bit of financial issues back in the day. Actually drew 1-1 with Nottingham Forest, because we know Nottingham Forest are so bad that they could only afford a draw with Weymouth. 25th, we got Morecambe Football Club. So we're over halfway now into the video. And they're based in Lancashire. Lovely little seaside resort as well. And they are now actually in the Football League, but their nickname is Shrimps due to their coastal town's local speciality food. And the club have played home games at the Mazuma Stadium since moving from their original home at Christie Park in 2010. The club contests rivalries with nearby Accrington Stanley and formerly with non-league neighbours Lancaster City, along with other Lancashire clubs. There's many ones. The club was founded in 1920 and entered into the Lancashire Combination, where they had remained for the next 48 years, winning the league title on 5 occasions in 1924-25, 1961-62, 1962-63, 1966-67, and 1967-68. They then joined the newly formed Northern Premier League in 1968 and went on to win the FA Trophy in 1974 and the Northern Premier League President's Cup in 1992. Under the stewardship of Jim Harvey, a second place finish from the 1994-95 Northern Premier League Premier Division saw them promoted into the conference. And having been beaten in the 2003 and 2006 playoff semi-finals, Sammy McElroy led the club to promotion to the Football League with victory in the 2007 playoff final. But yeah, they've pretty much remained, I think, in the playoff in the Football League since then. But yeah, definitely a historic non-league club. 24th, we got Welling United, based in the London Borough of Bexley. And they currently play in the National League South in the 6th tier of English football. They actually finished just above relegation zone in 20th out of 21 teams last season. Very fortunate not to be relegated, I think, because they're expanding the league to 24 teams for next season. But yeah, they have been historically quite a big team, really. Playing their height really in the conference. They won the Conference South in 2012-13 and the Southern League Premier Division in 1985-86. But they spent all the way from 2013-14 to 2015-16 in the Conference Premier, and I think they also played prior to that in the Alliance at some point, but it's because they were founding members, actually, I believe, in the Alliance Premier League and did very well in the beginning times. They actually won the. They actually no, they didn't win the conference, but they did spend a lot of time in it. They did struggle a bit though. It's for consistency they were playing at that high level. Is what we were looking at. 23rd, we got Scarborough. Very. I think this is also. And also defunct club now. They're based at the lovely seaside resort of Scarborough in North Yorkshire. Lovely chips there. They were one of the oldest football clubs in England, and they were formed in 1879. But they were wound up on the 20th of June 2007 with debts of £2.5 million, which is really difficult for a non-league club to sort of pay off, really. In the 2006-7 season, Scarborough competed in the Conference North, but they started the season with a 10-point deduction for a breach of rules and finished in 20th place, which would have resulted in their relegation to the Northern Premier League. But their last game was on the 28th of April 2007, which was... Oh, sorry. The last game was a 1-0 win at Hucknall Town. But they do actually have now a non-supporter-owned Phoenix Club, which was established by the Sea Dog Trust under the ban of Scarborough Athletic on the 25th of June 2007. And 1 year later, a second supporter-owned club, Scarborough Town, also came into existence, but that folded in 2013 because you can't have two competing Phoenix clubs. It just doesn't work. 22nd, we've got Ebbsfleet United. Will not always be known as that. We'll come on to that. So they're based actually in Northfleet, which is in Kent. And as of this season, really, they play in the National League South, which is a 6th tier in football. Last season they finished 3rd. They did all right. Didn't get promoted though via the playoffs. And the club was formed in 1946 by a merger of Gravesend United and Northfleet United, and was known as Gravesend and Northfleet, but they changed to its current name in 2007. Home matches have been played at the Stonebridge Road since the club's inception. And between 2008 and 2013, the club was actually owned by the web-based venture MyFootballClub, whose members actually voted on player transfers, budgets, and ticket prices, among other things, instead of the decisions being made exclusively by the club's management and staff, as at most other clubs. So I think a lot of people historically liked Ebbsfleet United's approach to things, I think would be fair to say. 21st, got Aldershot Town. This is the new Phoenix Club. And they're based in Hampshire. And the team competes in the National League, 5th tier of English Football League system. And the club was founded in the spring of 1992 after the closure of debt-ridden 4th Division club Aldershot. Aldershot Town play at the Recreation Ground, which had also been home to the previous home ground of the previous club. They initially played in the Isthmian League 3rd Division, and Aldershot Town won the league in their debut 1992-93 season and won promotion out of the 2nd Division the following season. They won the 1st Division title in 1997-98 and the Premier Division in 2002-03 to gain a place in the conference. They spent 5 seasons in the conference, losing twice in the playoffs, before winning promotion from Football League as Conference National and Conference League champions under Gary Waddock's stewardship in 2007-08. They were relegated back to non-league football and entered administration in May 2013. But they were actually thankfully brought out, so another Phoenix club wasn't needed, and they reached the National League playoffs in 2017 and 2018. 20th, so we're into the top 20 now. We've got Boston United. Based in Lincolnshire. The club participates currently now in the National League North, which is a 6th tier of English Football League system. The club is actually known as the Pilgrims, which is a reference to the Pilgrim Fathers, who left England and sailed to North America and settled near, though they did not find, common to misconceptions, the Boston in Massachusetts. The club's crest features the Pilgrim's Father ship called the Mayflower, and the club's traditional colours are amber and black. They compete in Lincolnshire derby matches with Lincoln City, Scunthorpe United, and Gainsborough Trinity, and Grimsby Town. They play at the Jakemans Community Stadium, and the club were formed in 1933 as a successor to the short-lived Boston Town. They initially competed in the Midland League before joining the Southern League for a 4-year spell in 1958. They returned to the Midland League and then joined the United Counties League, winning their first league title in 1965-66. Boston then switched to the West Midlands Regional League, even though they very much so based in the East Midlands, and they won the Premier Division in 1966-67 and 1967-68, becoming founding members of the Northern Premier League in 1968. United won 4 Northern Premier League titles in the 1970s of 1972-73, 1973-74, 1976-77, and 1977-78. 77, yeah, and became founding members of the Alliance Premier League in 1979. Boston returned to the Northern Premier League in 1993 and moved back to the Southern League Premier Division in 1998. Boston United won the Southern League in 1999-2000 and the Conference in 2001-2 to secure a place in the Football League for the first time under the stewardship of a controversial manager, Steve Evans. Yeah, he's now manager Stevenage, isn't he? I wasn't highly rated to him. But they entered administration, you see, in 2007 and were relegated 2 divisions into the Conference North. They were demoted to the Northern Premier League the next year, but Boston did win the Northern Premier League Premier Division playoffs in 2010 and have since had 4 unsuccessful playoff campaigns in the Conference National League North, including a 1-0 playoff final defeat at Altrincham during the last ever game to be held at York Street in August 2020. But I think they'll go somewhere, maybe next season. We do actually have a predictions video for the National League North-South coming out next week on Friday. 19th, we got a club in serious financial difficulties at the moment, and I do think it's going to be difficult for them. They need a lot of recruitment for money. Dover Athletic. Yes, based in Kent, obviously known for White Cliffs of Dover and the port there. The club actually currently competes in the National League South because it got relegated last season, last place with only 1 point. So yeah, the club was formed in 1983 after the dissolution of the town's previous club, Dover. I might not be right about that 1 point thing, but I think it's a very low points total, whatever it is. I think it was in single fingers. And their place in the Southern League was taken by the new club, you see, because of the Dover Football Club being dissolved. And in the 1989-90 season, Dover Athletic won the Southern League Championship, but failed to gain promotion from Football Conference as the club's ground did not meet the required standard. 3 seasons later, the team won the title again, and this time gained promotion for Conference, where they spent 9 seasons before being relegated at the end of the 2001-2 season. The club was transferred from the Southern League to the Isthmian League in 2004, competing that league's Premier Division for 1 season, before mounting financial problems led the club to a further relegation. In the 2007-8 season, Dover won Division 1 South of the league, before winning the Premier Division in 2008-9, and thus gaining promotion to the Conference South. They spent 5 seasons in this division, reaching the playoff 3 times, before defeating Ebbsfleet United in the 2013-14 playoff final, to finally return to the Conference Premier after a 12-year absence. At the end of the 2021-22 season, Dover were relegated back to the National League South, after finishing the season with 1 point. I was correct. The team usually wear white shirts and are consequently nicknamed the Whites. They have played at the Crabble Athletic Ground since the club's formation, and the club's best performance in the FA Cup was reaching the 3rd round proper in both the 2010-11 and 2014-15 seasons. While the best performances registered in the FA Trophy, the national competition for higher level non-league clubs was a run to the semi-finals in the 1997-98 season. Number 18th is Bath City, or Bath, if you're from the south. They are based in Bath, in Somerset. Well, they were formed in 1889 as Bath AFC. And the club is affiliated to the Somerset FA and currently competes in the National League South, the 6th tier of the English Football League system. They play their home matches at Twerton Park and wear black and white striped shirts, black shorts and white socks. And are traditionally called the Romans, or the Stripes, or simply Bath. Their current manager is former player Jerry Gill. Bath City's history is entirely in non-league football, and they missed out on election to the Football League by a few votes in 1978 and again in 1985. Although the club do have a good history in the FA Cup, reaching the third round 6 times in their history, and have beaten league sides including Crystal Palace in 1931, Cardiff City, and Millwall. On to 17th. Runcorn, also known as Runcorn Houghton, I think it is, because there have been various Runcorns since. So Runcorn FC Houghton, because there's the reform club was known as Runcorn Linnets. They played in Runcorn, Widnes, and Prescott at various points in their existence. But they were dissolved in 2006 and formed in 1918. Sorry. But they were winners of the Alliance Premier League, which is now a National League, in 1981-82. They also were champions of the Northern Premier League in 1975-76 and 1980-81, when that was a very prestigious time to be in the Northern Premier League. They were runners-up, actually, to the FA Trophy on 3 occasions in 1985-86, 1992-93, and 1993-94. But it was just the financial crisis, really. They actually finished the season with a record defeat of 9-0, which was really not good at all. But yeah, on to 16th. We're going to, I think, the last Welsh club we have now on this list. There's been a few, haven't there? And this is Wrexham. It's a Welsh Professional Association football club, and they're based in Wrexham, which is in Wales, quite near the border, mind you. And they compete in the National League, though, which is the 5th tier, as I said, of the English Football League system. They actually formed in 1864, and the oldest club in Wales, therefore, that is, and actually the 3rd professional oldest association football team in the world. So, good old Wrexham. Well, the club initially participated in friendlies and cup competitions, and first entered a league by joining the combination in 1890. Spent 13 seasons in the combination and 2 seasons in the Welsh Senior League, winning 4 combination titles and 2 Welsh Senior League titles. They entered the Birmingham District League in 1905, where they would remain until becoming integral members of the 3rd Division North because of all their success, really. They spent a long time in the Football League. They dropped out of the Football League in 2008 due to really sort of 18 months to get exit administration for one, and the pitch was absolutely atrocious. And they've been out of the Football League ever since 2008, and have had 5 unsuccessful playoff campaigns in the 5th tier, including this season where they finished 2nd, and they looked almost nailed on to win the playoffs, but they didn't. Wrexham's honours include winning the Welsh Cup a record 23 times. We don't really care about the EFL Trophy, do we? And they won the FA Trophy in 2013 at Wembley Stadium. The club are also record winners of the short-lived FAW Premier Cup, winning it 5 times out of the 11 years of its tenure. They participated alongside fellow Welsh clubs such as Cardiff City, Swansea City, and Newport County. Their biggest rivalries are with the English clubs of Chester and Shrewsbury Town, with games between the 2 clubs, or the clubs between them anyhow, known as the cross-border derby. In 1992, they actually beat Arsenal in the FA Cup, who were reigning English champions. They were also in the UEFA Cup Winners' Cup, winning against Porto 1-0 in 1984. This is because they won the Welsh Cup. But this is all when they're in the Football League, of course. They've not actually done anything since then. Wrexham's home stadium, the Racecourse Ground, is the world's oldest stadium that still continues to host international games. So basically the world's oldest international stadium. Because I got that wrong in the last video, I think, about one of the clubs which was barred out of their stadium, but that was the official oldest club, so something like that. The record attendance for the ground was set in 1957 when the club hosted a match against Manchester United in front of 34,445 spectators. Well, they're now owned by Hollywood, so they are definitely, I think, going to get better. Maybe promotion in the near future. We'll have to see where I predict them. 15th, we got Barrow. Well, Barrow. A very successful team nowadays, but historically very much non-league. They are based in Barrow-in-Furness, in this little end of a peninsula in Cumbria. Lovely area of World Cumbria. Can't say I've ever been to Barrow though. Quite a deprived area, I know that. Well, since 1909, Barrow have played their home games at Holker Street, which is quite near the town centre actually, only 0.7 miles from the train station. They initially played in the Lancashire Combination until 1921 when they joined the Football League. They were voted at the end of the 1971-72 season out of the Football League in the re-election process. They actually spent 48 seasons in the top two levels in non-league football, with 5 relegations from and promotions to the Alliance Premier League, later the Football Conference and the National League, of which they were founding members in 1979. And Barrow won the FA Trophy, the non-league football's most prestigious cup competition, really, because it's very unlikely for you to win the FA Cup, although Tottenham did back in 1901. In 1990 and 2010 was when they won them 2 trophies. They returned to the Football League, though, as National League champions in 2020. And that means that they are the first and to date only club to be promoted back to the Football League, having previously lost their league place by the re-election process. So really the only one of any merit is what we're trying to say here, isn't it? The club colours are blue and white, and their nicknames are Bluebirds. The record attendance at Holker Street is 16,874 for a match against Swansea Town, Swansea City, in the 1954 FA Cup third round. 14th, we've got Southport. Yeah, I don't think they like getting called probably Liverpool, but they're in Merseyside. Let me know below if you're a Southport fan. Would you rather be called in Cheshire or Merseyside? They play their home matches out at the Hague Avenue, which has a capacity of 6,008, 1,660 visitors seated, and 4,164 visitors standing. They are known by their nickname, the Sandgrounders, and the club's main honour is in the Football League, but they've won a number of titles in non-league football. They were founded in 1881, and the club were members of regional leagues such as the Lancashire League, the Lancashire Combination, and the Central League for many years until 1921, when they were invited to become a founding member of a newly formed Football League Division North. They failed to regain re-election though in 1978, and since then have been members of the Northern Premier League in 1978 to 1993, the Football Conference in 1993 to 2003, and then the Northern Premier League Premier Division in 2003-04 season, and Southport were transferred to the new National League North in 2004, and since then have played in either that division, Tier 6, or Tier 5 of the National League. In 2017, Southport were relegated from Tier 5 to Tier 6, and currently they are again playing in the National League North. I finished 12th last season. But Southport first participated in the FA Cup in the 1882-83 tournament, and their best performance was in the 1930-31 tournament when they reached the quarter-finals, or last 8. But they were beaten 9-1 by, could you call them local rivals, Everton, at Goodison Park. Southport had another good FA Cup run in 1965-66, when they reached the 5th round, or the last 16, and were beaten 2-0 by Hull City at Boothbury Park. The team actually reached the final of the FA Trophy in 1997-98, played at the old Wembley Stadium, but they lost 1-0 to Cheltenham Town. 13th, is this the last defunct club we are going to be talking about? I think it... No, it's not. We've got one more. This is Macclesfield Town, though. Only recently went out of business in 2020. They're based in Macclesfield in Cheshire, but they were wound up after the High Court ruling on the 16th of September 2020. They were initially known as Macclesfield FC, and the club was formed in 1874 and from 1891 played home games at Moss Rose. It competed in the short-lived Combination League in the 1890-91 season and reforming in the Manchester League at the end of the century. The club won the Manchester League twice before becoming integral members of the Cheshire County League at the start of the 1919-20 season, and they ultimately won the league 6 times, being renamed Macclesfield Town in 1946. The club were founding members of the Northern Premier League in 1968, winning the league in its first 2 years, as well as the FA Trophy in 1970. They were promoted to the conference after they won their third Northern Premier League title in 1986-87. Manager Sammy McIlroy led Macclesfield Town to the top of the conference in 1993-94, but they were not promoted as Moss Rose did not meet the Football League requirements. They won the FA Trophy for a second time in 1996, and they again won the conference title in 1996-97, but this time they were promoted, winning promotion in their inaugural Football League campaign with a second. Well, that doesn't really matter, does it? They were relegated back into the conference in the 2005. No, not 2000. 2012. Sorry. Despite financial constraints, though, manager John Askey led the club back to the Football League as champions of the National League in 2017-18. There was a lot of financial difficulties off the pitch, and after a points deduction activated on the 11th of August in 2020, the club were relegated to the National League, the 5th tier of English football, for the 2020-21 season. But on the 14th of September 2020, Macclesfield Town played their final fixture, which was a friendly against Witton Albion of the Northern Premier League following the winding up order. The club was eventually suspended and then expelled from the National League with immediate effect on the 12th of October 2020. And in October 2020, local businessman Robert Smethurst purchased the assets of Macclesfield Town and established Macclesfield FC, entering it into the North West Counties Football League in the 2021-22 Football League season. 12 Dagenham and Redbridge, the actual merged club, not one of the individual ones. As they say, better together than apart, or something like that. It's a club based in Dagenham, and they compete in the National League, the 5th tier of the English Football League system. They are often simply known as Dagenham and abbreviated when written to Dagen Red, and they are nicknamed the Daggers. They play their home matches at Victoria Road, and the club was formed in 1992 through a merger of Dagenham and Redbridge Forest. The latter was a merger from Ilford, Leytonstone, and Walthamstow Avenue. Although Walthamstow Avenue is now a club in its own right, and so is Ilford. Leytonstone, though, has not, and is therefore part of it still. The club's traditional colours are red and blue to represent the merged teams, and the club replaced Redbridge Forest in the Football Conference, but they were relegated in 1996. They won the Isthmian League title in 1999-2000 and qualified for the next 3 conference playoffs, missing out on the 2001-2 title on goal difference and losing the 2003 conference playoff final. They secured promotion to Football League after winning the conference title in 2006-07 season, but Dagenham were relegated back into non-league football in 2016 and have been there since. But have been very competitive. I would not be surprised if they are again pushing for the playoffs next season. 11th, just missing out on the top 10, we've got Forest Green Rovers. Now of the Football League, but obviously back in the day, a massive team in the non-league scene. They're actually based in Nailsworth, which not many people know where that is. It's in Gloucestershire, in sort of the Cotswolds area. Very lovely hills around that area. The team compete now in the Football League, but they have played their home games at the new lawn since 2006, when they moved from original home at the Lawn Ground. They were formed in October 1889, and the club became founding members of the Mid-Gloucestershire League 5 years later. They competed in various local league competitions for much of the 20th century, They won a multitude of league titles, such as Dursley and District League in 1902-03, the Stroud and District Football League in 1911-12 and 1920-21, the Stroud Premier League in 1933-35, 1935-36 and 1936-37, the North Gloucestershire League in 1920-21 and 1921-22, and the Gloucestershire Northern Senior League in 1937-38, 1949-50 and 1950-51. They became founding members of the Gloucestershire County League in 1968, before they were moved up to the Premier Division of the Hellenic League 7 years later. Forest Green won the Hellenic League in the 1981-82 season and lifted the FA Vase after beating Rainworth Miners Welfare in the final at Wembley. They spent the next 13 years in the Midland Division of the Southern League and briefly competed under the name Stroud FC, reverting to the name Forest Green Rovers, and the club won successive Southern League, Southern Division and Premier Division titles in 1996-97 and 1997-98, winning promotion to the conference. They reached the 1999 FA Trophy final, which they lost. They became the first club to reach the finals of both the FA Vase and the FA Trophy, and they also reached the 2001 FA Trophy final, which again they lost. They were twice reprieved from relegation from the Conference National due to the demotion of other clubs. Bit lucky, but I've got an even more luckier club coming up, trust me. The club was transformed following investment from the green energy industrialist Dale Vince in 2010. Under Vince's chairmanship, Forest Green became the world's first vegan football club in 2015, and the new law was installed with numerous eco-friendly innovations. Investment in the playing squad saw the club compete for promotion into the English Football League, which they achieved with victory in the 2017 National League playoffs. But yeah, that is a brief overview of Forest Green Rovers history. Although this series coming up, and I will be starting officially the History of Your Club Series 4 this Monday. So be looking out for that. We've got the History of Barrow. If I gave you a little taster earlier, we've got an even more in-depth one coming up on Monday. The top 10 then. 10th, we've got Stevenage. Now in the Football League, it always seems to be towards the bottom end of it, unfortunately. But they were known as Stevenage Borough Football Club until 2010. But they are a professional association football club based in the town of Stevenage in Hertfordshire. They are now in Football League, but they play their home games at Broadhall Way in Stevenage. And they were founded in 1976 following the demise of the town's former club. They joined the United Counties League in 1980 and enjoyed success in the club's first year at senior status. They won the United Counties League Division 1 and then the United Counties League Cup. Following 3 promotions and 4 seasons in the early 1990s, the club were promoted to the Conference National in 1994. Despite winning the league in the 1995-96 season, the club were denied promotion to the Football League due to insufficient ground facilities. Stevenage remained in the top tier of non-league for the following 14 seasons, before the club earned promotion to the Football League after winning the Conference Premier in the 2009-10 season. But yeah, they've been in the Football League ever since. They became the first team to win a competitive final at the new Wembley Stadium in 2007, beating Kidderminster Harriers 3-2 to lift the FA Trophy in front of a competition record crowd of 53,262. They won the competition again in 2009, and the club has also produced notable results in the FA Cup against high-profile opposition. 9th, we've got Gateshead Football Club. We're coming towards the end of this video as we speak, but we are in the northeast here. And they compete in the National League now because they got promoted as National League North winners last season. And they play at the Gateshead International Stadium. They were established in 1977 after Gateshead United folded, and the club are known as the Tynesiders or the Heed. There had been a Gateshead AFC in the English Football League from 1930 to 1960, which had itself folded before Gateshead United had been established. but these are not the same club, no. A current incarnation of a club began life in the Northern Premier League, winning Premier Division titles in the 1982-83 and 1985-86 seasons. However, they were relegated out of the conference in 1984 and 1987. They secured promotion back into the conference at the end of the 1989-90 season, though would remain there only until another relegation in 1998. The club were further relegated out of the Northern Premier League from Division 2003, but they won the First Division playoffs in 2004 and the Premier Division playoffs in 2008, before winning promotion out of the Conference North with a second place finish in 2008-9. Gateshead spent the next decade in the top flight of the English football's non-league system, losing a playoff final in 2014, before they were demoted into the National League North in 2019 due to financial irregularities. I think it was a right disgrace that they got relegated, to be honest, because it seems a bit dubious circumstances, to say the least, in that regard. 8th, we got Yeovil Town. Now back in the National League, but they had spelled a bit of a spell in Football League of Horse. They're based in Somerset, and they compete in the National League, 5th tier of English Football League system. And the club's home ground is Huish Park, built in 1990 on the site of an old army camp and named after their former home, Huish, itself known for its pitch, which had an 8 feet, or 2.4 metres if you're European, sideline to sideline slope. The club's nickname, the Glovers, is a reference to the history of glove making in the town of Yeovil, which became a centre of industry during the 18th and 19th centuries. They were founded in 1895, and the club initially joined the Somerset Senior League and competed in a multitude of leagues up until the outbreak of World War II. During this time, they won the titles in the Southern League, the Western League, the Bristol Charity League, the Dorset District League, and the Somerset Senior League. They played in the Southern League after the war ended, winning the championship in 1954-55, 1963-64, and 1970-71, before becoming members of the Alliance Premier League from 1979 to 1985. I spent the next 3 years in the Isthmian League, which always confuses me how it gets all these clubs. I don't know where it's actually geographically would be located. I think it's the southeast at the moment, but yeah. And were promoted to the conference after finishing as champions in 1987-88. They were relegated in 1995 and were promoted again 2 years later after winning another Isthmian League title. Yeovil won the 2002 FA Trophy final and secured a place in the Football League after winning the conference in 2002-03 under the stewardship of Gary Johnson. They were relegated back into non-league though at the end of the 2018-19 season, which ended a 16-year season spell in the Football League. And Yeovil are one of the most successful non-league teams in the FA Cup, having defeated major Football League teams, most famously Sunderland in the 4th round in 1949, before going on to play in front of more than 81,000 spectators away at Manchester United in the next round. For some years, as the only they've not really had any Somerset rivals, and because the Southwest isn't known particularly for its football, and so Dorset-based sides Weymouth were declining as well as Yeovil climbed divisions in the 1990s and 2000s. So it's a bit hard to find their rivals. 7th, we got Barnet Football Club. They are based in Edgware, not actually in Barnet, and compete in the National League, the 5th tier of the English Football League system. The club was founded in Chipping Barnet, then part of Hertfordshire, in 1888, and they played their home matches at the Underhill Stadium from 1907 until 2013, when they moved to the new Hive Stadium in Edgware, which is named based on the club's nickname of the Bees. The women's team is actually called the London Bees, and they compete in the FA Women's National League, and actually a very successful football team on the women's side. Barnet became founding members of the North London League in 1892, and a success at a local level before ceasing to exist in 1902. 2 other clubs, Barnet Avenue and Alston Works, merged and entered the Athenian League as Barnet and Alston in 1912, becoming simply Barnet 7 years later. Barnet spent 53 years in the Athenian League, winning 7 league titles and 1 FA Amateur Cup title, before turning semi-professional as they entered the Southern League in 1965. They were crowned Division 1 champions in 1965-66, and they went on to win the Southern League Cup in 1972 and Division 1 South title in 1976-77. Barnet became founding members of the Alliance Premier League in 1979 and initially struggled, though finished as runners-up after the league was renamed the Conference in 1986-87. Barnet were first promoted to the Football League in 1991 after manager Barry Fry led them to the Conference title in 1990-91. They were relegated back to the Conference, though, in 2001, but they returned to the Football League 4 years later after winning the 2004-05 Conference National title. They were relegated back to the Conference, though, once again in 2013. In 2015, they returned to the Football League for a third time after winning the 2014-15 Conference Premier title. However, they just survived for another 3 seasons in League Two before suffering another relegation in 2018. Sixth, this is the last club that is no longer in existence, Telford United. You may have guessed this one, may not have. They are based in Telford in Shropshire, and the club has existed under various names for a total of 132 years from its formation in 1872. And the club was actually a founding member of the Alliance Premier League, which was later renamed the Football Conference. In 1979, that was when they formed it, and they played at this level for 25 years. The club was known for its memorable exploits in the FA Cup during the early 1980s and in the 2003-04 FA Cup, as well as the 1970-71, 1982-83, and 1988-89 FA trophies. After Telford United, though, was wound up in 2004, supporters established a new club named AFC Telford United. Into the top 5, so you must really be good if you are on this list. We got at number 5, Northwich Victoria. They are based in Northwich in Cheshire and actually play their home games at Wincham Park, which is the home of Witton Albion. The club currently participates in the North West Counties League Premier Division, which is quite low down. That's the 9th tier of the English Football League system. So what on earth are they doing at this late stage in top 100? Well, they were demoted from the Northern Premier League at the end of the 2016-17 season, so that's already saying that they were played at a high level historically. But the original club was founded in 1874 and named in the honour of the then reigning monarch, Queen Victoria, before becoming defunct and amalgamating with Hertford and Dagenham United in February 1890, with the new club taking the old Northwich Victoria name. The new club was a founding member of several leagues, which did actually include the Football League Second Division. So they were a Football League team for a brief period in their history, but we don't care about that. They played at the same Drill Field ground for over 125 years. At the time, Drill Field was actually believed to be the oldest ground in the world on which football had been continuously played. However, it was demolished in 2002, and after a ground sharing period with their local rivals Witton Albion, they started the 2005-06 season in their new stadium, Thornton Victoria Stadium in Wincham, just outside Northwich and across the Trent and Mersey Canal, which separated them from their rivals, but the ground was later demolished. In June 2017, the club was taken over by supporters, which is very good. I do like to see a good supporter-based club, but they did spend a lot of time in the sort of top end of non-league spectrum. So that wasn't really mentioned there. 4th, we've got Kettering Town. Another shock one for you guys. They're actually based in Burton Latimer, which is like a smaller town on the outskirts of Kettering in Northamptonshire. They're currently members of National League North, which is the 6th tier of English football, and play at Latimer Park in Burton Latimer. Kettering were the first club to wear a sponsorship upon their shirts in 1976. Don't tell me that I don't provide informative and interesting facts. And of 2021, they are the leading FA Cup goal scorers of all time. That's part of the reason why they're in this list so high up. But they were also for ages in the very top end of the non-league football sort of scenes. They were conference runners-ups in 1993-94, 1994 and 1998-1999. I mean, they were Conference North champions in 2007-8 and the Cup Conference League Cup winners in 1986-87. I mean, let's just they reached the fourth round of the FA Cup twice in 1988-89 and 2008-9. And they actually reached the final of the FA Trophy twice in 1978-79 and 1999-2000. So they've been in the Southern League for a bit as well, winning the championship of that league in 1927-28, 1956-57, 1972-73, 2001-2. Also won the Premier Division Central of that league in 2018-19. As well as being in the Division 1 champions on 3 times under various guises over the history of that time. But they've never actually won the Conference National, which is a bit odd. But they've been consistently up there and competing at the top end. Into the top 3. So you must be extremely good in the non-league scene if you're in it. My number 3 is going to be Woking Football Club, based in Surrey, and they were founded in 1887. And the club plays its home matches at the Laithwaite Community Stadium and is nicknamed the Cardinals, which is often shortened to the Cards. They currently compete in the National League for 5th tier of English football, having been promoted from the National League South in the 2018-19 season. But they've really pulled off something. And actually reached the 4th round of the FA Cup in the 1990-91 season, beating West Bromwich out. Well, they were against West Bromwich Albion, and they were losing 1-0 at half time, but they actually went on to win 4-2, with Tim Berzaglo scoring a hat trick. They actually played against Everton, and they only narrowly lost the game 1-0. They were promoted to conference in 1991-92. They actually did very well. They won the FA Trophy for the first time in 1994. And they were only the second club to win back-to-back FA Trophies after Scarborough and defeated Kidderminster Harriers in the final. A third FA Trophy actually followed in 1997 with a victory against Dagenham and Redbridge. They also achieved 5 successive top 5 finishes in the conference, winning runners-up in 1994-95 and 1995-96, only being below Stevenage in that time. They had a very good time in the FA Cup as well. They beat Millwall, who were top of Division 2 at the time, and Cambridge United, who were challenging for promotion from Division 3. They actually drew 1-1 away to Premier League side, then Coventry City, thanks to a late minutes equaliser. Unfortunately, only to lose replay 2-1. They clinched the FA Trophy for the third time in 1996-97, as I said. But yeah, there's really a lot. They only got relegated to the Conference South in 2008-9 after a bit of a disastrous season. And they only lost the playoffs very narrowly. And it's quite interesting that they are mentioned in the In-Betweeners as the claim by Jay saying that he took Woking from a conference to a Champions League in 6 seasons in Championship Manager, which means that he was offered a role in the England men's national team setup. For all those people who love a bit of popular culture references, don't think I'm uncool and don't know about popular culture. Right, unfortunate of missing out on the first place. In second place, we have Altrincham Football Club. I like to sometimes call this club the most luckiest club alive. They are a professional football club based in Altrincham, which is in Greater Manchester. They were founded in 1891 and the nickname of Robins, interestingly. And they're currently members of the National League for 5th tier of English football and play at Moss Lane. But why do I say, well, let's go for a bit of a history. They only they were founding members of the Alliance Premier League for one. And they would be, the winner of which would be the the only non-league nomination for the future Football League election ballots. So it already instantly narrowed it down. And they were in the very inaugural season of the alliance. They won it. They were the champions. And they only missed out on election by a single vote. But unfortunately, this was actually, they were promised votes by Grimsby Town and Luton Town, you see. But the Grimsby representative was prevented from voting by being part of the wrong part of the meeting room, while Luton's representative arrived too late after a mix-up over the start time. So it's really unfortunate there. So maybe they were a bit unlucky, but I'll tell you about why they're lucky later. They retained the APL the following season, but they were much less successful in the election time. They did reach the FA Trophy final. That wasn't the first time. They actually did it back in the day as well. But they reached the FA Trophy final in 1981-82, but lost 1-0 to Enfield. They were in top 5 finishes for 4 consecutive times between 1984 and 1997. And they had a second FA Trophy win in 1985, beating Runcorn 1-0 in the final. They, in the 1985-86 season, they had the record of one of the biggest FA Cup giant killings of all time when they defeated Birmingham City, who were in the top division, 2-1 at St Andrews. They got a bit of a dip in form, really. But I'll tell you why. They are the most luckiest team of all time. It is because they should have been promoted, like it was 1977-78 when they won the FA Trophy. And they won the Lord Trophy in 1980-81. Because 3 times they should have been relegated, but 3 times they weren't, because there was 3 clubs who suffered from financial difficulties, and so because of conference rules were relegated, and hence Altrincham were deprived of relegation. Number 1, currently not actually in the top flight of the non-league game, is Kidderminster Harriers. But they compete at the moment in the National League North, which is actually the 6th tier of the English Football League system, or Step 2. They were formed in 1886 and they spent their entire history at the Agborough Stadium. They have won the Worcestershire Senior Cup a record 27 times and are the only club from the county ever to have played in the English Football League, although we don't really care about that. They're actually founding members of the Birmingham District League in 1889, and they merged with Kidderminster Olympic the next year and entered the Midland League as Kidderminster. They actually folded, though, due to financial difficulties in March 1891. Kidderminster Harriers reverted to the amateur status and rejoined the Birmingham District League, though it would take until 1937-38 for them to claim their first league title, which they retained the following year, and they joined the Southern League in 1948. They reverted to the Birmingham District League in 1960. They won a further 4 league titles in 1964-65. 1968-69, 1969-70, and 1970-71. Harriers then switched to the Southern League Division 1 North in 1972 and were promoted to the Alliance Premier League at the end of the 1982-83 season. Kidderminster Harriers won the FA Trophy in 1987 and were crowned conference champions in 1993-94, though Graham Olner's team were denied a place in the Football League due to the state of Agborough. The club improved the stadium and were admitted into the Football League after winning the title again under Jan Molby's stewardship in 1999-2000. They were actually relegated out of the Football League in 2005, and they finished second in the conference in 2012-13, but were beaten in the playoff semi-finals and were relegated from the National League in 2016. They have qualified both for the National League North playoffs in 2017, 2018, and this season in 2022, finishing 4th place. But they have had so much success back in the day, really. Reaching the Welsh Cup final in 1986, but they lost to Wrexham. They also reached the final again in 1989, losing to Swansea City. They went to the FA Trophy in 1987. And I've actually reached the final on 3 occasions. Um, they've played various teams as well in the FA Cup. Actually, the fourth round of the FA Cup in 2022 this year, and were drawn against West Ham United, actually beating Reading to get through to that point. And they were actually unfortunately defeated 2-1 after extra time, thanks to last-minute goals from Declan Rice and Jared Bowen. But it could have been so much more. And they've been really successful this season, and throughout their history, really, they won the Conference League Cup in 1996-97, and they have overall been quite a good club in history. I hope you have all enjoyed this video. I really hope you had. Please subscribe if you are new around here. That'd be hugely appreciated. Got the history of your club series 4 being hitting your YouTube channel on Monday, and we are going to have the first of the predictions, I'm pretty certain, on next Friday. But goodbye for now.